All right, hi, I'm Jeff Spies with the Center for Open Science. I'm also the co-director of the SHARE project and, as previously mentioned, a visiting assistant professor at UVA. You heard about our mission to increase openness, integrity, and reproducibility in scholarly research. You can ignore the word science. We are more general than that. But this is in greater service of increasing research efficiency, quality, inclusivity, and diversity. Openness as an ideal is great, but this is at least my driving motivation. Everything we do is free and open. So I'm glad I'm going at the end here because I can hand wave a lot of stuff that others have said. So everything is free and open, meaning it's free open source in terms of technology. Open source is great. You heard about that earlier. We are entirely grant and foundation funded. We're a nonprofit. We have some great funders. We have a growing list of funders. You can read more about them online. And we have a number of products, services, projects, initiatives. Some of those are focused more at scholarly communication, journals. So our Open Badges project, for example, where we even have empirical evidence of their effectiveness, transparency and openness guidelines that journals can sign on to, registered reports, which changes the order of the peer review process to put less emphasis on the result and more on the process, the methods, pre-registrations, also supporting that model. Again, you can read more about these online. And whatever we're doing, the main problem is typically this gap between scholarly values and scholarly practices. What we believe, what we know are the ideals, and then what we do day to day. And a lot of this is caused or amplified, at the very least, by the incentive structure that currently operates in scholarship. I'm incentive to get to publish, not to get it right. This could be a whole talk in and of itself, but I think there's a more basic issue underlying some of the challenges that we face. And that's very simply that research is actually pretty challenging. And the context, the details are extremely important. Thinking about this cloud age of scholarship, we can do more. We can capture that context in different ways, and I think that's what I'm going to be talking about. That is what I hope to be talking about. So this is the scholarly life cycle. This is what goes into those few pages of a journal article. And the details at every stage are really important if we're thinking about things like reproducibility. And so if we seek to facilitate reproducibility, replicability, extension, reuse, all of these ideals, these core values of scholarship, then we have to move beyond thinking about descriptions of process. Or really, we tend to be more outcome focused right now, but even if we would describe outcomes, that's not enough. Describing process, that's really not enough. We need to share the actual process, and now we can do that. Now the technology can facilitate that. It is important, though, that if we're going to be taking this perspective, that we don't allow ourselves to be locked in. This lock-in business model is not good for scholarship. We've had this open access movement. We're in sort of the midst of, well, we're still in that. We're in the midst of this open data movement to really effectively get at what we need in scholarship to get the things like reproducibility, replicability, extension, and reuse. We're going to need movements along every aspect of that life cycle. An open data cleaning script movement is not going to be, that's something that I want to see. It's going to be critical that we have that information, but why don't we just, cut to the chase? Let's say we need open workflow. And this is what the Open Science Framework was designed to do. It's meant to capture workflow. We want to integrate tools and services in this workflow. So the OSF is our flagship product that is meant to organize, share, archive, curate, collaborate on research workflow. Another one of our projects, Share, is meant to describe that workflow from a metadata perspective. So the OSF, all free, all open. You can register today. It is very similar to a content management system, but it has these specific features meant for capturing workflow, and features meant to automatically align practices with scholarly values, like, for instance, registration or snapshotting of a project at a given point in time. More than that, it focuses on integration. And why workflow is so important is this is where we can actually have an effect if we seek to cause change. We can integrate all of these tools in the OSF. If you're using Dropbox right now, we can meet you where you are. Say you're using Dropbox to store code. We can meet you where you are. And then we can say there's actually another tool called GitHub, Git, that'd be probably a better place for versioning code. And we can give you a drag and drop interface to that service. And then as you have time to learn, you can add these other tools to your workflow. But you can still get the value out of this approach right away. So we want to meet users where they are. We also want to not have to reinvent the wheel. This idea of services is exactly how this was built. We want you to plug in the things that you use today. We want you to go to the GitHub website and do your work there if that's the best place for you to be doing that work. We don't want to reinvent a code versioning system. We're adding more of these all the time. We have an institutional offering that adds single sign-on, branding, dashboards, etc. It's been pretty well received. But the OSF is not just a website. It is a platform as a service. It's very much like OpenStack. This is built as a set of services that you can use individually. And you can organize these things into different views on top of this platform. For instance, a preprint server. So we have a preprint server and aggregator built using the OSF platform and Share. And it looks very much like a preprint server. But to scale our services, we know that we can't be in every discipline, in every subdiscipline. And so to do that, we engage the community, the people that speak the language of those disciplines, of those communities, that know the people, and provide them with the infrastructure and the technology to do that work. So SocArchive is a social science preprint server that Philip Cohn and his steering committee run, but he doesn't have to worry about the technology. And we're doing this for more and more groups. We're adding these all the time. It's very simple to add. So thinking about the future, I think a preprint is interesting because of this ability to rapidly disseminate content. We separate that distribution from evaluation. But if we add an evaluation component, you get something that looks like a journal. Except journals wouldn't necessarily be gatekeepers then. They would be purely these evaluators or these amplifiers. And this, I think, is a very exciting step forward in scholarly communication. And I'm surprised it hasn't been said, but because we've mentioned decentralization distribution, we are exploring things like the blockchain. It is very buzzwordy right now. I don't think that is a magic bullet. I don't think that is an end-all be-all solution to all our problems, but I think we can pair these things with federated, integrated, centralized services to get a best of both worlds approach to the challenges we face. You can find this presentation online. I'm happy to take questions and discuss later. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me take this chair. So